guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Blake. I'll be sure to send that $5 your way. So hi, everybody. Welcome to the Building Team Chemistry Skill Session. Just got to pull up my screen share real quick, and then we can get started. All right, so again, welcome to the Teamwork Skill Session, led by me, Nash Depew, and my partner, Rachel Ivy.
All right, so we're going to both start off with a basic introduction of ourselves. So my name is Rachel Ivy, and I went to Johnson County 4-H. In the upper left-hand corner, there's me with my basket at the state fair. Basket weaving was one of my favorite projects, and my last year I got to go to the state fair, so that was pretty cool. And then underneath that is me and my cello. I started playing the cello in 6th grade, and I've continued to play it throughout high school and now into college, and I love playing it. And next to that picture is me in my cap and gown at graduation when I graduated from Perry, and now you can see that I go to the University of Indianapolis in the picture next to that. I study psychology to go into occupational therapy school, and above that is a picture of me and my mom and my dad. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's pictures of me and my best friend, Selah. We've been best friends ever since we were born, and there's a picture of me and her right before prom, and then one of us at Disney. And then above that are my 2 cats. We got them a few months ago, and the orange one is 5 months old, and his name is Mork, and the other one's name is Mindy, and she is 4 months old.
Howdy, y'all. My name is Nash Depew. I'm from Fountain County. I'm 20 years old, and I'm going to be a sophomore at the University of Ivy Tech this fall, majoring in business administration and management. I hope to transfer to Purdue next year. So this top left picture is my mom and I. We took that picture in a shoe store. The bottom left picture is Emily Wolf and I. She's also a counselor this year. A council member this year. And that little stuffed animal in the middle there is our state fall group mascot, Stack. That beautiful cat right there is Sweetie. I showed cats in 4-H for 6 years. She's a 3-time grand champion, and she's also placed 9th in state the 1 year that I went to state for her. Picture in the middle is my aunt and I at my graduation. I graduated from Fountain Central High School. That other cat right there, his name is Dwight. He's pretty mischievous, but I love him all the same. The man in the top right is Governor Holcomb. He's a pretty nice guy. Met him at ISFLIC. He was speaking. He's also pretty tall in boots. He's a pretty intimidating guy. Bottom right picture is another picture of Sweetie. I don't know if you can tell, but I really love her.
All right, so today we are all stranded on a deserted island. And maybe we crash landed, or our ship crashed in, or our plane. So now we're all stuck here. So our goal today is to figure out how we're going to survive and maybe even escape. So a basic description of what our island looks like is it has some tropical fruit trees on it. So maybe like coconut or mangoes or bananas. The cold ocean water flows over the warm sand beaches that surround the island. Most of the center is a tropical forest with tall trees that sway on the island breeze. And there's a small mountain that protrudes above the trees. And lastly, there are a few small animals that inhabit the island and some possible fish offshore. So now, we got to figure out how we're going to live and survive on this island. So I want everyone to look around them, maybe at your desk or in your room or wherever you're at, and grab an item that's close to you that you think would be helpful to help us survive on this island. And we're all going to go through and show off our items and maybe say a few things on what we can use that item for.
For example, I have this BB gun right next to me. I could use it to hunt for small animals on the island, maybe some possums, lemurs, I guess, since we're on a tropical island, find some food for us to share.
And then I have some hand sanitizer next to me, so that way we can keep clean and sanitary on this island and make sure we don't get dirty.
Anna says, hopefully this doesn't end up like Lord of the Flies. I think that's the right name. I haven't read the book in a while. But that is so the way I'm going to do this is I first got to pull up a whiteboard. So I can write everything down for you all so you all can see that. Let's see here. I gotta pull this thing over. So the way I'm going to be going about this is I'm just going to move down the people that I can see on the right here. Then I'm just going to ask you guys for the item that you have. And also, if you do not have a mic or you just know that you're not comfortable enough to speak, you can also put in the chat. A few people have already put in the chat already, so I appreciate that a lot. But while I'm going through this, Rachel, could you please just tell me the items that are put in the chat so I can write them down as I go?
Yeah.
Thank you kindly. So I'm just going to start from who I see first. Olivia Barr, do you have an item for us?
I grabbed a pair of scissors.
All right, thank you. Thomas, what is your item today?
I have a box knife.
A box knife. That could come in very handy. Blake, what is your item for us today?
I have a gallon of distilled water.
Gallon of distilled water? You have a lot of those.
I do. I have 6 of them.
Philip Babcock, you have an item for us?
I have just a plastic bag.
Perfectly fine. Use it to carry stuff around. Randy, do you have an item for us? You're muted, Randy.
So I've got a flashlight that doesn't need batteries. You can wind it up to get it to work.
Thank you, Randy. Lucy Redmond, do you have an item for us?
She put in the chat a Swiss Army knife.
Swiss Army knife. Thank you very kindly. Okay, Alice Pickett, do you have an item for us?
Yep, I have some graph paper.
Graph paper. Dora Green, do you have an item for us?
She has a pillow.
Pillow. Abigail, do you have an item for us?
I have a pair of shoes.
Pair of shoes. Okay. Travis Barnhart, do you have an item?
He has a fishing pole.
Fishing pole. Anna, do you have an item for us?
She said her dog.
Okay. Sorry for pronouncing this wrong. Phoebe, I'm not sure. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Okay, we can come back to you.
Oh, she said a blanket.
Oh, a blanket. Okay, sorry. Landon, do you have an item for us?
A hunting bow.
Hunting bow.
That's pretty handy to have.
Very handy. All right. And Caitlin, do you have an item?
I think she said a blanket in the chat.
Okay, so we have 2 blankets available to us. Okay, so now that we have this list of items out, I think our next goal is to pretty much just decide what our short-term goals should be for the island. Obviously, the end goal is escaping the island. But what should we start off with? During this time, while we're discussing these, anybody can talk if they'd like. You can also type in the chat. But if you are talking, just make sure you're respectful to others. Make sure if someone else is talking and you want to talk, just wait till they're done. Floor is open to anyone as long as they want us to use it. So yeah, what do you think our short-term goals should be?
Lucy said building a shelter.
Building a shelter. Okay, that's one. That's one. One baseline that we should have. One is another.
Getting a plan and a ration system going for the distilled water that we have.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good
A
idea.
gallon of distilled water won't last forever, so Thomas is right. We do have to ration it out. Landon said food and water, storages, signifiers. That was very good.
And Alice said getting food and fruit.
Okay. So now that we have these short-term goals, food and water shortages, signifiers, and building a shelter, we should also probably divide our roles up. Because, you know, not everybody is going to be a skilled hunter, and not everybody knows exactly how to build a shelter, maybe as good as someone that is good with tools, that kind of thing. You know, teamwork is all about building on each other's strengths and covering weaknesses. Because your team is just as strong as the weakest link. So as long as we build on our strengths, we'll be able to get off this island and survive. So what I want to ask everyone is, what kind of roles do you think you would be comfortable with? Would you be a person that would want to build a shelter, hunt for food, gather resources?
Help build a shelter and start a fire.
Yeah. So Thomas would like to be a shelter builder. We have at least one. Anna says her and her dog can track living food, so she could be a hunter. Landon says he could shoot, so he can hunt as well. So we have 2 hunters, and Thomas can build a shelter for everybody.
With Lucy, Lucy also said to build a shelter, so I just wanted to point that out.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. Lucy and Alice can help Thomas build the shelter, and Alice also said she can collect fruit. So we also have a resource collector with us.
I could get a better water source going for us.
I'm sorry, what?
Get a sustainable water source.
Yeah, we have a whole island around us. We got a lot of salt water. You know, building a distilled water system. That's a good idea. Abigail says she can also gather resources. Okay, so now that we have these roles pretty much good, satisfied, everybody has their own roles that they like to do. So now like the X is actually putting that plan into action. Thomas said earlier that we have to make a plan first. So with our goals, like now that we have what everybody's going to do, how are you going to carry out those roles? So for example, Lucy or Thomas or Alice, how would you use the tools that we have listed in the whiteboard here? How do you think we could use those to help build a shelter?
I'll let one of you go if you'd like.
I'll give them a little bit of time. I know they're typing in chat usually.
I could use the various knives to carve a shelter-like structure.
Mm-hmm. Maybe cut down some small trees. That's a good idea. Anyone else?
I would start a fire with my knowledgeable skills and some, yeah, we could use the blankets as for a roof to kind of keep everyone in. But while I'm building a fire, I could use like everything, trees, sticks, leaves, and stuff like that to start the fire.
Good ideas. So now when it comes to hunting, how do you think we could use the tools that we have to do hunting? Like we do have a hunting bow, we have a few knives with us, but we don't exactly have arrows. So what could we do to make the arrows for our bow? Anna also said she has a dog, so we could use that dog, you know, track things. Landon says use the knives to cut some arrows, whittle some sticks down from the trees. It's a good idea. Okay, so I'll move on to the next part then. Oh, sorry. You can also use the knives to skin and descale things. Thank you, Landon. That's good. Using the knives that we have. So now we have the hunting down and we have our shelter plan down. Anna says make spears as well. That's a good idea. We have a lot of different tools that we need to get animals and cook them up for food. We could use the fire that Thomas made to cook the animals. Also use it to distill and boil water. So getting resources is the next part. So using the knives that we have, I'm sorry, not the knives, the tools that we have, how can we utilize these to help find resources on the island? Because it is a pretty big island. There's a lot of animals, a lot of resources that we could use. One example I can think of to start things off is use the battery-free flashlight that Randy gave us. You know, look around at night, allows us to, we don't have to worry about it going out because we can just wind it up. Abigail says we can use the fishing pole to go fishing. Very good idea. Okay, so now that we pretty much like have everything that we want, we have a food plan, we have a resource plan, and we have a shelter plan. Now is actually like getting off the island. So what are some ideas that people might have to get off this island? Oh, Lucy says climb up trees and cut down any fruit with the knives.
That's a good idea.
That's a very good idea, Lucy.
Get some tasty fruit from in the trees.
Build a raft. Anna says build a raft.
Make my fire bigger and smoke signals.
Yeah, we could use the blankets to help do the smoke signals. Use flashlights as well. That's a good idea, Thomas. So we have building a raft and smoke signals. Use the blankets as sails for a raft. Very good, Alice. That's a good idea. Okay, so now that we have this boat that we've made as a team, and now we're on the ocean, you know, fix whenever we came in. That is a good idea.
True.
Crash a plane. We could make it up like if you've ever seen A Bug's Life, we could use it like make a wooden bird and just like fly. So now that we have, we're on the raft and we're on the ocean now, we have to figure out a whole new plan because we're gonna be on this raft for a while, you know, unless we catch a boat coming up to us, but it's still gonna probably be maybe a few weeks before we find anything. Okay, Dora. Dora just told me that she might get kicked off in a minute because there's a big storm coming. So if you do get kicked off, just try to rejoin as much as you can. I'm sure it'll let you back in, I think. So now we have to find pretty much a new plan. Now that we're on the ocean, we can use how are we going to get another steady food source now that we're on the ocean? Because we don't have all the animals or resources back on the island.
Alice did suggest we could use the blankets for sails for the raft.
Mm-hmm.
We could have stocked up spinning, and then, as both Anna and Lucy said,
Anna and Lucy both say fish. Lucy says fish like crazy. Anna says fish and seaweed is food. Those are pretty much our only options. Alice says turn the plastic bag into a fishing net. That's a very good idea.
How cold is the water?
We're at a tropical island, so I'm going to guess pretty warm.
How cold does it get during the night? Because
50
we'll
degrees.
Okay, then we'll have to worry about maybe hypothermia if we're going to get in the water too.
Mm-hmm. That is true. We do have 2 blankets, and one of them is the raft, so we could probably, you know, maybe use one of those blankets, cover up ourselves, also huddle together at night.
If we were to use pieces of the plane, if we crash on a plane to make a fireplace on top of metal so it wouldn't catch the actual raft on fire, we could distill water with the empty distilled water bottle using my plastic bag, putting it over it, and then using a coconut to hold water. And we use one of the oxygen tubes from the plane, and the steam will go through that, go on top of the bag, and drip into the gallon thing.
That's very good, Phil. Thank you. Anna says take turns watching out for ships and sharks. Yeah, having a periodic watch is very important because if we catch some ships crossing at night and we don't see them, then we probably miss out on our one chance to get rescued by others. So with that, I will end the main session. So we've pretty much survived the island. You know, we worked together as a team. We used all the items that we have at our disposal, and we did a good job. You know, thank you guys for participating. And now we were going to move on to oh, I accidentally stopped sharing my screen. Sorry. So now we're going to move on to the reflection questions. So what do you guys think the purpose of this whole like deserted island kind of game was like? Like to start off for me, like when I made this, like when Rachel and I started making this skill session, like we just wanted to think that, you know, we wanted to show everybody that teamwork is important. And like it really is important. Like I know that's a basic statement, but like, you know, without teamwork, there's not many places in life which you can succeed. Like for sports, you know, if you don't work with your team, your teammates, your coaches, you won't win many games. You won't like move on to sectionals, regionals, semi-state, state. In your careers, if you don't work with your coworkers, your boss, if you always push them away, you're not going to move up. You're not going to succeed much in your workplace. Even in 4-H, you know, if I'm a 4-H camp counselor, I got to work with my other counselors, make sure the kids are safe. The counts, like we meet the kids' needs, make sure they're safe. And even in this conference here, like Thomas, Blake, Rachel, the other counselors and I, we had to pretty much build this whole virtual conference up from scratch. You know, we had a whole plan set in place and COVID-19 came along and we had to pretty much build a whole virtual conference up. That took a lot of teamwork and it took a lot from us, you know, and without teamwork, this whole thing wouldn't be possible. That's the kind of thing I was looking, like Rachel and I were looking for when we made this. We wanted to possibly send that vision to you guys. It's kind of what we were looking for. But anyone else like to share on what they think the purpose was?
Lucy said, go teamwork.
Thank you, Lucy.
Not just to show that it was to show that if we all were to work towards one goal, then every other goal wouldn't get done. We would have to rush to get those done because we weren't working on them earlier.
That's good. And this kind of goes back to what was said earlier from everyone. Like we build on the strengths that we have, you know, and like saying like, you know, some people weren't good as hunting. So, but other people managed to cover that, you know, and then we were able to, if everybody's working on their strengths, be able to efficiently work together, get the resources we need, build shelters, get off the island, and kind of what we were going for here. Would anyone else like to share? Okay, we can go on to the next question. Where do you think you could take this game to play in the future? Like, how do you think you could use this, like show it to others and help them understand the importance of teamwork? Alice Pickett says to our 4-H clubs. It's very good, Alice. To kind of build on what Alice is saying here, like when we show it to our 4-H clubs, like for example, when last year, my 4-H club was very young, and we didn't like the only people that could take officer positions were the only people that were old enough to really take them. So like, if I took it back to my old club, I could show them, you know, so we have the 4 officer positions. We have treasurer, secretary, vice president, and the president. You know, we all have our own strengths and weaknesses. We're not perfect, you know, and if we build on each other's weaknesses and strengths, we can cover them and allow our club to succeed the most that we can. If anyone else likes to share, they may. Okay, I'll go on. Oh.
I think one of the good purposes that you can see from this is who's going to step up and take that leadership position that might need to be taken, and who's better at doing those specific tasks.
Thank you, Thomas. And we'll go on to the last slide now.
So this is a basic description of the game. So in the future, when you if you want to take this activity to your own 4-H clubs, or maybe a club at school or anything else that you're involved in, you can go and play this later. And Steve should send out different resources from throughout the conference, and so this will be there, so you can take this game and play it and help build up your teamwork.
Okay. So we have about maybe 5 minutes left. So I want to use the last of this time here to ask you guys when have you had to use teamwork to succeed. Like, for example, my junior and senior year of high school, I had to work together with my football team. You know, we won sectionals 2 years in a row, my junior and senior year. So and to get there, we had to work together. We had to practice together, make sure we all knew each other. We had to watch the film on teams and our own, make sure we could build on what we were doing wrong. You know, without that, we wouldn't have won. And we succeeded by winning sectionals. Anyone else would like if anyone wants to share a story on their teamwork stories, I guess we can call it that, then you may.
I was about to tell a great one, but you already told it about us as the council members building up this conference this year.
Oh, I'm sorry, Thomas. Blake, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think you did great. I was going to talk about SJLC too, but I mean, that's the best example I could think of.
Yeah, bro, I'm sorry. I just am always. Ooh, somebody put in chat. Olivia Barr says, me and the class officers at our school had to work together to create our Christmas dance. That's a really good example, Olivia. I thank you for sharing. Rachel, is there a time that you had to use teamwork to succeed?
I know my last year of 4-H, me and a group of 10-year members worked together to make a building for our 4-H grounds by this old stadium that we have, because there was not a building for the announcers to use. So we all built together and worked together to create something so the announcers could have a nice place to announce. So.
Very good. I had to do something similar when I was a lot younger in 4-H. Our rabbit barn, there was no signs around anywhere at our state fair, not our state fair, our county fair, that showed like what the barns were. People just had to, like, people that were new to the fair, they didn't really know what the barns were until they actually went in. So my local club, we worked together to make signs and paint them for the barns, so people could actually see what the barns were. Alice Pickett says, in robotics, we work together to build a robot. Building a robot takes a lot of collaborative effort. So that is a really good Alice.
A lot of different people's skills have to be worked together.
If you try doing it on your own, there's a lot of likelihood you probably mess it up on your own. A lot of work to get that fixed. But if everybody's peer reviewing their work, then you could build the perfect robot. Although I haven't done robotics myself, but. Thomas, you work at a Chick-fil-A. I'm sure you'd have to work together as a point when you get big rushes.
Yeah, every day, including today.
Okay. So as time is winding down here, Rachel and I, we just pretty much wanted to say thank you guys for coming to this. Oh, I'm sorry. Lucy Redmond said that she's coded with a team of girls her age. That's really good as well. Thank you, Lucy, for contributing. All right, I just keep getting sidetracked a little bit, but Rachel and I just want to say thank you guys. We really appreciate you guys coming to the skill session, listening to us. It means a lot because we took a lot of time to make this happen. We had our original plan, and it failed because of the COVID-19, so we had to build a new one. With all the work that we put in, seeing you guys here participating warms our hearts. And we hope you guys enjoy the rest of this the conference for the rest of today and tomorrow. We hope to see you guys back there.
See you back here tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah.